Okay, so welcome and thank you for dropping by. This is now in the module 10. No? Nasa module 10 na tayo. Dalawa na lang and we're done. No? So, for today, we will be talking about the global cities. Yay! Okay, so ano ba meron? Okay, the term civilization comes from the Latin word civis, meaning a person living in a city. No? Okay, ulitin ko ulit. Pagka sinabing civilization, it comes from the Latin word civis, meaning a person living in a city. Okay, the rise of the cities is linked to the following factors. Yan, isa-isahin natin. Agricultural improvement that reduces the number of workers needed for food production. Pangalawa, stabilization of political and economic institutions, um, which enhance the safety and distribution of goods and services. Okay, pangatlo, improvements in the transportation and communications which enhance trade and social interactions among large number of people. Okay. Pangapat, the rise of industrial and post-industrial economies which demand concentrated populations to provide labor and services. And, okay, so yun na last. So let's now talk about the urbanization and human ecology. Now, when you say urbanization, it refers to the movement of masses of people from rural to urban areas and an increase in urban influence over all spheres of culture and society. No? So, yun yung movement, mass movement, no? From rural to urban. I don't know the reason behind kung bakit gusto nila lumipat from probinsya to syudad, nasa kanila loob na yon. No? Kayo ba? Let's say for example, you are living in a rural area. Are you satisfied or do you want to move out and go to the city? It's up to you. No? Ako kung ako tatanungin ninyo, mas pipiliin ko pa nga siguro na manirahan sa probinsya, no? Kasi you know why? Kasi isipin mo, you have the fresh air. Except lang kung talagang may alaga kayong kalabaw na sumisilong dyan sa tapat ng bahay ninyo, kaya medyo fresh air pa din, no? And then, parang ano din masarap din talaga ang buhay probinsya, no? Not unless you talagang kung work ang hanap mo, then that means you have to move out from the province to go to the city. Kaso, yun nga lang kasi ang naging ano ng iba, mindset ng iba. Okay, patterns of urban development. Now, we will talk here about the several patterns or models that kung paano nabubuo yung city or yung urban areas, no? So, unahin na natin yung concentric zone model. Now, yung concentric zone model, it is based on human ecology theory done by Burgess and applied on Chicago sa Amerika. It was the first to give the explanation of distribution of social groups within the urban areas. Now, this concentric ring model depicts urban land usage in concentric rings. The Central Business District, or the CBD, was in the middle of the model, and the city is expanding in rings with different land uses. So, when you say concentric zone model, ito siya, no? As you can see, yung gitna, which is the Central Business District, yung pula, then yung violet here or yung purple is the factories and industries, while yung working class is yung blue, and the middle class housing is nandito, and yung commuter zone would be the outermost area. Now, another model is the Hoyt sector model. Now, the Hoyt model is somewhat similar to Burgess model and is often considered as improved version. Now, Hoyt argued that cities do not develop in form of simple rings. Instead, no, they have sectors. Parang ganito. Now, how Homer Hoyt, no, in 1939 suggested that a few activities grow in forms of sector which radiates out along the main travel links. Activities in a sector are considered to be the same throughout the sector because of the purpose of function it serves. Now, land use within each sector would remain the same because like attracts like. Now, the high class sector would stay high class because it would be the most sought after area to live. So only the rich could afford to live there. The industrial sector would remain industrial as the area would have a typical advantage of railway line or river, and this sector can be housing, industrial activities, and etc. Now, this sector grows along railroads or railway lines, highways, or rivers. Ito naman, okay, balikan ko yung Hoyt model. No, kung makita nyo, medyo circular pa rin siya, kaya lang nagkaroon na ng yung tawag natin mga sectors, no? Like, for example, yung factories nandito, then yung working class housing, medyo spread out siya, while ang central business district will still be the same and nasa gitna pa rin, while yung middle class housing is of course spread out, while yung high class housing, no, let's say mga condominiums, mga mansions, etc., will be just there. No? Pero sana all. Okay, then you have the multiple nuclei model. Now, this model is based on the structure of Chicago, just like the Borghese model or the concentric zone model of the 1925. It can be considered as an attempt to explain the structures of the city taking into account the complexity and the growth over time. Harris and Ullman argued that the city might start with the single central business district, which is um, this one, this blue. But over time, the activities scattered and gets modified. The scattered activities attract people from surrounding areas and acts as smaller nuclei in itself. These smaller nuclei, the small nuclei gain importance and grow in size and start influencing the growth activities around them. So parang ganyan. No? Okay, now let's define metropolis, megalopolis, and suburbs. Now, metropolis, when you say metropolis, it is a large city or conurbation which is a significant economic, political, and cultural center for a country or region, and an important hub for regional or international connections, commerce, and communications. When you say megalopolis naman, it is a group of two or more roughly adjacent metropolitan areas which may be somewhat separated or may merge into a continuous urban region. While a suburb is a mixed use or residential area existing either as a part of the city or urban area or as a separate residential community within the commuting distance of a city. Now, pag-usapan naman natin yung mga problema. Ano nga ba ang nakikita niyong problema sa isang city? Now, I will put the one of the activities there sa inyong module, and let's see if you could identify, no? So, tingnan natin. So, the greatest problem facing major cities is generating enough revenue to provide adequate service and protection for their residents. Most major cities raise taxes to compensate for their shrinking revenues, but this in turn encourages more residents and business to flee the city and locate in the surrounding suburbs. Revenue, no? Yung kinikita ng isang city. No, yun ang nagiging problem din kuminsan. Then, urban decay hits the central city as major business move from the downtown area to more profitable suburban location. All buildings subsequently either remain vacant and deteriorate or become a multiple unit slum housing. Let's say for example, yung tenement, no? Low rent hotels, adult bookstores, yan, pugad, kuminsan, and theaters, center for drug distribution, diyan nagkakaroon ng mga illegal na transaksyon, and criminal activities, no, kuminsan hideout, no, and repositories for the urban homeless. Okay, the central cities have increasingly become the domicile of the poor. Although many of the poor resides in rural areas, the proposition of urban poor increased between 1980 and 1990. Much urban poverty is a result of growing urban underclass of poorly educated and unskilled minorities who lacks the skill and education to make the transition from an industrial economy to service economy. Urban problems continue to exist such as chronic unemployment, parami walang trabaho, homelessness, yung karaniwang palaboy, and violent crimes, alcohol and drug abuse, suicide, and other forms of deviance. Now, inner city decay, even if some city governments in global cities attempt to revitalize central cities by raising dilapidated buildings and replacing them with modern high-rise office buildings. Now, apartment complexes and condominiums, they could not contain the proliferation of street people, drug dealers, and prostitutes who do their illegal trades, especially nighttime. No? Dito sa atin, we all know sa Olongapo City, it's the prostitution is quite rampant, no? Pumesto ka lang dyan sa may triangle o kaya dyan sa may Mart 1, alam mo na kung ano susunod, no? So, apparently hindi ko lang alam ngayon kung they're still existing right now, pero siguro kahit pandemic man o wala, nandiyan pa rin yata sila. Okay, human ecology and environmental concerns in the city. The ecological perspective provides the theoretical model for analyzing the interdependence between human beings and the physical environment. In the case of human society, two of the most important ecological factors are growth in population and our ability to alter the environment through technology. Overpopulation. Yan. Ito ang karaniwang nagiging problema rin natin. Overpopulation threatens to bring about widespread starvation and avalanche of death. As population increases and urban areas expand, farmers are forced onto marginal lands. Sobrang dami natin ngayon. O, tingnan nyo. Nagkakaroon ng overpopulation. So, nagiging crowded na rin yung city. Now, ano nangyari? Nagkakaroon ng mga build-ups, no? Nagpapatuloy ng mga subdivisions. Kaya yung iba, ginagawa nila is kino-convert yung farmlands into subdivision para lang maka-occupy ng mga tao kasi overly populated na rin ang isang lugar. So they may burn forests to grow crops or raise cattle on that land. Deforestation can result in overcultivation and soil erosion. Moreover, large population demand not only more food but also wood, petroleum, and other fossil fuel, electricity, and water, and other scarce commodities. Depletion of natural resources. Forest land around the globe is being destroyed at a rate of an acre every second, and tropical forests are shrinking by 11 million hectares each year. Particularly disturbing is the fact that tropical forests, which cover only 7% of the Earth's surface, may house as much as 80% of the planet's species. Pollution. So pollution is now a wide effect. It's now affecting almost every global city worldwide. Now, its most serious manifestation affect the three major givers of life: water, air, and land. The three major sources of water pollution are domestic wastewater, industrial charges, and agricultural runoff. Urbanization creates a heavy concentration of human waste, which is usually discharged onto sewage system that empty into nearby bodies of water. Unfortunately, other municipalities downstream often rely on those same bodies excuse me excuse me same bodies of water as their major supply of drinking water. Yan. Speaking of water, medyo nabahing ako. Ah, okay, moving on. The world global cities. Now, we will have an activity. I will show you guys the pictures of a certain cities and I want to determine what city or saan yan matatagpuan. Okay, umpisa ko na sa una. Mahal kong Maynila. Diba? So, of course, it's obvious, it's Manila, Philippines. Then, how about this? New York. Of course, this is in where? New York City. How about this? Ito, mas, ano, saan yan? Sige nga. Of course, this is where, saan yan? Hmm? Hmm? It is in Beijing, People's Republic of China. How about this one? Sige nga. Okay, clue. When the flag is there, ibig sabihin, nandyan siya sa loob. Anong city yan? It is in London, England. Of course, this is the Buckingham Palace. Pagka naka-raise yung flag, according to the, ano, pagka naka-raise yung flag, that means, nandyan yung queen sa loob. How about this one? Of course, this is in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Okay, yan. Medyo papahirapan ako konti. This is one of the world's most famous crossing. And it can be found where? Mm-hmm. Yes, it's in Tokyo, but where? Is it? It is in Tokyo, but where? Shibuya District. Okay, yan. Sa mga mahihilig manood dyan, alam nyo kung saan yan. Of course, Seoul, South Korea. Ayan, the city of love. Monsieur, mademoiselle. It is in Paris. Okay, another one. Yan. Home to the largest and tallest building in the world. It is in Dubai, UAE. Okay, ito. Pepperoni, spaghetti, meatballs. Gets? It is in where? Okay. Of course, this is the world famed Colosseum. How about this one? Of course, this is from Mother Russia and this is in Moscow. By the way, this is their government office, which is they call it the Kremlin. Okay. Now, last. Now, if I am facing this way, not that way, nasaan ako? If I'm facing this way, not that way, nasaan ako? Napaka ng clue, napaka obvious ng clue. Sa mga sa mga nakapanood ng Chloe, and saan ako? It is in Pyongyang, North Korea. So, that's it for lesson 10 or module 10, and hopefully we will see each other again on module 11 and 12. And of course, don't forget to click like and subscribe to my channel, and please click like, no? Click like, and don't forget the bell for notification. So there you have it. I'll see you on module 11.